Hey friends, today I'm going to show you how to run large language models from Hugging Face, even if you don't have a high-end graphics card. We'll use Paperspace to get access to a powerful GPU, and we'll use Ubabooga's text-generation-webui as the front end to the model. So let's get into it. First thing you want to do is create an account on Paperspace, which I've done using my Google account for authentication. And then, since this is your first time, you'll go to your account and you're going to go to SSH keys. And this is going to help us authenticate to the machine that we spin up here on Paperspace. So create a new SSH key, open the command prompt, and you're going to run a program called SSH keygen. This generates a public-private key pair, and we're going to save it in this directory. Name it Paperspace-3. No passphrase. All right. So now, if we look at that folder, we see Paperspace-3, and the public key, and we can print out the value of the public key using the cat command. So cat followed by the name Paperspace-3.pub. And there's our public key. So then you'll take this value and copy it, add a new SSH key, Paperspace, give it a name, and paste it in. And now you have an SSH key which you can use to authenticate to your Paperspace machine. All right, so next we're gonna spin up our machine. And first thing we want to do is click this Create a Machine button. Now, ideally, we would just use this ML in a box one right here, but Paperspace requires approval because they don't because this configuration uses a more powerful graphics card than they want to let just anyone use. So instead, we'll pick this ML in a box configuration, which uses a slightly older version of Ubuntu. And then here, again, we're limited in the GPUs we can select from without needing to get approval, so we'll just pick the next one up, the P4000. East Coast region is fine. Create a new private network. You can name it whatever you want. DavidNet3. And there we have it. And finally, because hard drive space isn't cheap and models can be large, or rather, hard drive space is cheap and models can be large, we'll just bump the disk size up to 250 gigabytes. As you can see here, SSH keys will be used to authenticate. So I'll create the machine, and it's gonna provision the machine, which might take a while, so we'll let it run. I'll fast forward through this part. All right, so the machine is booted up. You can see it says on/ready. Click into it, and here you can see a block here saying how to access our machine via SSH. Mine says Paperspace because it's using one of my other SSH keys. So now we're going to connect to this machine, and again, we'll go back to our command prompt. We're going to use SSH to connect. So we've copied our command here, and now you're going to need to pass the identity file which you created in the SSH keygen script to this command, otherwise it's not going to authenticate. So you put -i for identity, and then you want to give it the path to the private key file, which has the same name but without the .pub. So we'll do, in my case, Paperspace. And it'll ask us if we're sure that we want to continue connecting. Yes, we do trust this machine. All right, we're now officially logged into our Paperspace machine. The first thing we're going to want to do is run NVIDIA-SMI. So this will tell us about the NVIDIA card and the version of the drivers that are running on this machine. And here we can see CUDA version 11.7. Now that'll be relevant for a later step once we install the text generation front end. But for now, you can see here's P4000 that we signed up for with Paperspace. So now what we're going to do is we're going to clone the repo that has the front-end code that we're going to run to give us access to the model. So we're going to go to Ubavuga's text-generation-webui GitHub page. I'll put the link in the description. We're going to go to this code drop-down, select this URL, copy it, and go back to your console and type git clone and that URL. All right, now if we type ls and look at the contents of our current directory, we can see text-generation-webui is there. So we're going to have cd into that. And looking at the contents, we see various shell scripts for different platforms. So since we're on Linux, that's what Ubuntu is, we're going to run the start Linux script. And one more thing to add, we're going to add --share. And this is going to give us a publicly accessible URL that we can use to access the web UI from our laptop. So here we go. This part's going to take a while because a number of packages need to be installed, so we'll let it do its thing. That said, you do have a decision to make early on in the installation process, which we'll point out here in a moment. Okay, so it's asking what GPU we have. We have an NVIDIA one. And furthermore, it asks, do you want to use CUDA 11.8 instead of 12.1? Now, because we're using CUDA 11.7, we definitely cannot use 12.1. So we're going to say, yes, we do want to use CUDA 11.8. And I know it said that we had 11.7 in the NVIDIA SMI UI, but that should still work for our purposes here. So we'll let the rest of this install. Okay, so once that all finishes installing, you'll see a URL printed out here. This is the publicly accessible URL provided by Gradio. So let's copy that and put it into our URL browser bar here. All right, so now we've got our front end running. Let's go over to the model tab. And we don't have any models, so let's grab one. So I'll use this Wizard Vicuna 7B uncensored model from the bloke for example purposes. And we're going to use the GGUF format here. So for that, we want to pick a specific model file so we don't have to download all of them. So let's see. This Q4KM is the smallest one that is recommended. So let's start there. I'm going to copy this here. I'm going to put this in the file name. And then up here, we need to put the higher level path to the username and model. So we'll copy that here, paste it in, and now we're going to download it. And if you go back to your command window here, you'll see the download progress. So wait for that to finish. Okay, so the model has now finished downloading from Hugging Face. So we'll go back to the front end, refresh our model list, and there we have it. And select from the drop down, click load. You can see it's loading here. And one important thing, this is an instruction following model, so once we go over to talk with the model, we'll switch it to chat instruct. So let's do that now. Chat, scroll down, switch this to chat instruct, and now you can ask it anything you want. And once you're done using the model, you're going to want to shut down your Paperspace machine so you don't continue to get charged for running it. So once you're done, go back to the Paperspace UI and go to your machine and click shut down. It'll take a little bit to shut down. Now it's off. Now, if you look at your machines, you'll want to finish it off by deactivating it. And there you have it. That's how you can run large language models from Hugging Face on hardware in the cloud. If you thought this tutorial was helpful, please like it and subscribe to the channel for more great content. Thanks.